It's Brent Porche from 93.3 WMMR in Philadelphia here, and joining me now is the founder and frontman and the leader of the multi-platinum selling Grammy Award-winning band Ghost, Mr. Tobias Forge. Hello, sir. Thanks for taking some time to speak with us here at MMR. We missed you.
Thank you very much for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How about yourself? Are you feeling better?
I feel better. Yeah, I've been down with down with the sickness. I've been yeah. It's been I've had it like it feels like but long convalescence simply because I had three wisdom teeth removed.
Oh, no.
So that sort of made me horizontal for a while, and then after that, I finished it off with a good flu.
Oh, good. Back to back. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a minute since we spoke and had the great ghost through the Philadelphia area, but soon, of course, that's all about to change. It was just announced back in October via the clergy that Ghost is going to be joining us and taking the world by storm with a massive world tour this year in 2025, including a live ritual here in Philadelphia that's going to be at the Wells Fargo Center coming up on Saturday, July 19th. Of course, those tickets are on sale now. We're very excited to have you back through the area, but it was also just announced that Ghost's sixth psalm is going to be coming a little bit later on this year, actually in about a month or so, called Skeleta. It's on its way. So we're very, very excited about that. Of course, set for a worldwide release on April 25th via Loma Vista Recordings. The lead single, Satanized, which is going to be coming out here shortly, is a love song of sorts and is sort of being described as Ghost's most unflinchingly introspective work to date and more of a personal album. To you, Tobias, what more can you tell us about Skeleta coming up here?
Yeah, I mean it is a record that is introspective to farther degree, I guess, than especially the previous record that I just to be, clear, I do believe that most artists usually create a new record based on where they were on the previous one. Not as like a counter reaction, but usually there's something that you wish to achieve that you maybe didn't on the previous, or you want to change something, or just fill your at the end of the day, what you're doing is basically filling your repertoire with hopefully songs that you didn't have before. But thematically, I usually have some sort of thematic guideline when I write. First and foremost for myself, in order to make a sense of what the new record is, so it's not too whimsically just about everything at the same time. Um, but where Impera was very much a I'm not only extroverted, but exteriorly um, reflecting on bigger society, social issues, and also, like, as the title implies, imperial structure and its ultimate demise. It didn't feel very productive to continue down that and make an Impera 2, like talking about the continual demise of. Uh, I was more attracted to the idea of this record that was more shining a light inside, and making a record about like healing aspects of being uh, essentially a human being in whatever structural design. Because at the end of the day, most humans are surprisingly alike, and display the same um, abilities to sentiments, and these sentiments are usually quite basic, and that idea was attractive to me, like making a record that had a song about hope, had a song about hate, had a song about love, acceptance, and like all these things.
Yeah, very cool. And the first single being Satanized. This is obviously the new Papa is being unveiled here. Papa 5 Perpetua, correct?
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool. And
eternal
also,
one.
I actually saw the music video for Satanized. It blew my mind. It was so cool to see. Of course, you're in it, but you're not really yourself. You're a priest in it, doing the Satanizing through the music video itself.
Yeah, well, this is the funny and sometimes even to me confusing elements of being in this sort of fictional band where everything is sort of meta. We have a ton of songs, Satanized being one, where technically our singer, in this case Papa the Fifth Perpetua, is um, singing, pretending to be a fictional other person. So anytime that you hear our singer, whomever have sung in the past, singing the word I or a song that's in I form, it doesn't mean that it's that character singing about himself. In this case, same thing that it's the Satanized is written in I form from a perspective of a technically, like, simply put, a religious person who confuses the feeling of being in love with being possessed by an on some unearthly being from another dimension possessing his, in this case, soul and tearing it apart because that's how it feels.
Gotcha,
And
gotcha.
he's
Yeah,
also been taught that feelings like that is the devil's work. So when it comes to making a video for that, it becomes a little weird if you put Papa there to sing that song.
sure.
And so therefore we had to um essentially, you know, get an actor in to serve as the the main character in the I in the I form.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and so with the music video, for the first time ever, I believe the ghouls are completely unmasked, and they kind of reveal themselves as the church band or the band that's in there in the church with everybody. And one thing that kind of resonated with me, especially towards the tail end of the music video, was the unveiling of Papa the Fifth Perpetua, and the robe and the papal hat and everything that came of it. Like I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it because such a cool visual to kind of wrap up the first song or the first single in Satanized, and this new being Papa the Fifth Perpetua is really really cool.
Yeah, that's what we try to do. We might want to, do something as mundane as unveiling a papa in the maximalist way of enthusing everybody to believe that it's you know as an important event.
when
And
you when you go to unveil these characters, or you're dreaming up the next version of you or the next version of the leader of the band Ghost, is this something that you have thought out like way ahead of time, or is this something that you kind of come up with as you're going through the recording process? Or when you how did you come up with Papa the Fifth Perpetua, and of course the visuals and the gown and everything that kind of went with it for this particular character?
it depends. I mean, my MO isn't linear, and it isn't like every time I come up with something, it's in this order. It's sometimes I have an idea in the back of my head that technically was sort of spawned 2 albums ago. That note to self, like, let's do this thing, and it didn't works. It doesn't work out, or there's something disabling that, or it doesn't, maybe technically works or practically, and then you keep it for as long as it takes. And it's a constant. I mean, I have a long laundry list of things that I want to do, and that we have never been able to do. And some of the ideas have been there forever, like literally like longer than Ghost has. Um, just because I am very interested in conceptualizing things, and themes, and let alone like stage production stuff, and just generally, like a lot of the things that I've been able to do with Ghost. But I've also learned that a good idea is not a bad idea just because you can't make it happen immediately when you come up with it. You can sit on it for a while and maybe the stars align and you can do it better later.
Gotcha, right on. So, of course, we're talking about Skeleta, the new album that's going to be out on April 25th. Not only do we get the brand new album, of course, the world tour is coming up too, but we get an exclusive edition of the Sister Imperator comic, which is arriving on March 5th. This is the pre-order is going on right now. What can you tell us about this upcoming graphic release? And this is going to be one of four, so there's more to come, right?
Ever since we started um like really expand on the world, the sort of the lore, the sort of side universe of the band, um, with Sister and her world. Um, it has been in the back of my head that there's a lot of things there that can be expanded upon. That is simply um, let's say ambitious to try to explain in a 4 minute episode that's supposed to be funny and sort of end with some sort of commercial um reveal, because that's essentially what they are. They're supposed to communicate something to you as a fan, but sort of wrapped in a funny way. That sort of took a life on its own, and which at least last year, it sort of culminated in this film called Right Here, Right Now, where you got more episodes than jammed to the film, and a lot more backstory and all that. But there's more to it than that, and the easier way to explain a lot of the background is to turn it into a comic, simply because it's easier than to make a film.
Very
Uh,
cool.
so for any of you who are interested in Sister Imperator and why she is like why she's doing what she's doing and how that came about, that's what the comic book is about, the graphic novel.
Sweet. You guys are going to be in collaboration with Dark Horse Comics for this. And you mentioned the movie Right Here, Right Now is actually in preparation for the interview here. I went back and revisited Right Here, Right Now. I love bands that find just as much importance in their visuals as they do the music as well. And was it fun to film Right Here, Right Now? Was it fun to do the behind the scenes scenes? I mean, it looked like you were having a good time. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I am deeply smitten by by the whole idea of the film world. And I've always been and very drawn to it. Always wanted to make a film and wanted to work in film and to be finally able to do it. Obviously, this is maybe not in the capacity of or exactly how I imagine working in film in general, because I was we this was partly based off of concert work. Um, but it was definitely a very inspiring um, procedure, and it was fun, um, and definitely gave me, in Sweden we call it a blooded tooth, which I equals, I guess, to it like a dog who's tasted human blood or something and becomes Cujo.
Very cool. And speaking of shows, this tour this year is going to bring you to Madison Square Garden for the first time. I mean, that's huge. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, of course, that's huge.
Uh,
That's a big feather in the hat.
yeah.
Uh,
And a day
but
prior, we'll have you here in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center. Actually, first time I ever saw Ghost live was at Metallica's Orion Festival in Atlantic City. It was the middle of the day. You had like one of the daytime sets. You're on one of the main stages there. Any other? Of course, you were down the the hot Jersey Shore sun that day. Any other memories from that particular performance that you remember off the top of your head?
I'm
Just
trying
like
to remember. This is one thing I remember. I remember the day. I remember being there. I remember seeing Metallica because they played Ride Lightning,
Yeah,
and they played Escape for the one only time they've ever played that. That was really cool. I remember. I don't remember much from the show. Actually, I must say, I that is like our show. I remember Ross Halfin, the photographer, was there, and I think he climbed out. Like he sort of his thing is that he sort of steps onto the stage, and I guess he asks first, can he? Sure, and he sort of just like stepped down on stage when you're playing because his thing is that he will take a shot like right in your face when you're playing, and so that's one of his things. And it was just funny. I just that's one of the memories of like seeing him there. I remember James Hetfield was there during the show, and because he was sort of behind like our staging and or something like that, and him and Ross was around, and come there and take a drink between the songs, and like, oh hey, oh, which was fun, really cool. We've actually played at Wells Fargo, by the way, before. We were there with Iron Maiden.
that's
uh
right. You were. I was at that show. You're right.
yeah, but I know that that was obviously after Orion. That was years after
Yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure.
It just dawned on me that we've actually played there before. um yeah, sorry for thinking out loud here.
No, it's all good. But speaking of Metallica, you guys are going to be joining them along with a slew of other mega bands for Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne's farewell show over in Birmingham, England, coming up over 4th of July weekend. Of course, all proceeds from the show will be shared equally between Cure Parkinson's, Birmingham Children's Hospital, and the Icon Children's Hospice. What does the great Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, and the music of Black Sabbath mean to you?
A great deal. I grew up with both Black Sabbath and Ozzy, simply because my brother liked them. My 13-year older brother. So when I was little, and this is in the 80s, so um, uh, obviously, let's be frank, like in the 80s, there were definitely moments when Black Sabbath, in these various incarnations, that was Black Sabbath during the 80s, was like a little bit of hit or miss in terms of like prominence, if you will. In Sweden, we had this magazine called OK that was amazing. That was just like it was just a youth culture magazine that was covering anything that was interesting, and so there was always a lot of hard rock, but intermixed with everything else. And that was a source of great inspiration and information for anybody who read it. And since I was like consuming that magazine, anything that was in there, I would sort of somehow be interested in. And of course, where Black Sabbath might be a little bit more of a side note, like here they are, they have a new album out and they have a new singer, and they've and of course I was aware of them because I really loved old Black Sabbath. Ozzy was more like of a, an 80s sort of mega rock star. Um, um, and I was an equal fan of that. Nowadays, and have been for at least 30 years, I've been very, very, very much a fan of all the various incarnations of Black Sabbath. Like, obviously the Dio years, also what is it, three? I almost counted Heaven and Hell, like the band, but they did three records with Dio. Also meant a lot to me. But yeah, their influence, Ozzy with Black Sabbath, that influence on me has been massive. Like from a showman point of view, Ozzy, the 80s character, sorry, but the 80s sort of Ozzy,
Mm.
very much so as a frontman and as a singer. And musically, of course, Ozzy too, but I must say that the especially the, I don't know what you call it, the prog years with Black Sabbath. I've listened to the first couple of records to death, but the records that really mean the most to me are Volume 4 and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath and Sabotage.
Oh,
Uh, and those are still very much on a pedestal in terms of being deeply influential for me, and a lot of the a lot of the courage, whatever that sometimes I put into making records that are mournful or frail or advantageous musically. I'm pretty certain that a lot of that comes from reading Geezer's really mature and frail lyrics about being alive, being a person, being a person afraid of things in the world and the threats. And I'll also like a lot of the musical playfulness they had on those albums, specifically those albums, are very inspiring. Where people usually assume or you sort of mistake Sabotage as like just a brutal heavy metal record just because you have like Hole in the Sky and Symptom of the Universe, but the rest of the record is basically ballads.
So safe
And
to say, I mean, the emotions are running deep for the fact that, you get to be a part of such a legendary and historic show with somebody that's been so influential to you, over the years. I mean, even before you were thinking about this whole music thing.
of course, it's gravely humbling, and such an enormous mind trek for someone who spent so many hours watching Sabbath. When I was a kid, like I had the videos, like the one there was this early documentary from the 80s called Just Say Ozzy, I think it was. And so I had that, watched that a lot. There was an early Black Sabbath documentary also from like late 80s. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I remember when I have I still have the original like VHS. And also like the live from Hammersmith Odeon in 78 or whatever it is, 78 I think, was, I don't know how many times I've seen that. Paris 1970, that's also like another VHS thing that meant a lot to me. So yeah, they've been very colorful and or have colored my writing probably much more than I've given them credit for, which I don't understand why I haven't. But um, um, huge, huge influence.
Very, very cool. And it's being advertised as Papa the Fifth Perpetuo is going to be a part of this Black Sabbath and Ozzy show. Anything special that you may have in store, have planned that you can share with us?
Not I can't really share anything, but obviously it's going to be a special uh day, and I think any performance you'll see there is going to be somehow uh, special and unique. Um, so I expect no less from mine.
Way cool. Way cool. Yeah. Tobias, you have a hell of a year ahead of you here. Of course, Ghost's sixth psalm, Skeleta, set for release on April 25th. The great song Satanized. You make sure everybody that's watching this now, go check out the music video for it. It is out of this world. Just a killer track. We're very much looking forward to the rest of the album. The rumor is that there's going to be a couple more singles or a couple more tracks from the album released before Skeleta comes out on April the 25th. Of course, we got the big show here in Philadelphia. That's going to be July 19th. Tickets are on sale now. WMMR.com and ghostofficial.com has all the details for you there. Also, real quick, I wanted to touch, I know we talked a little bit about the Right Here, Right Now. You can get that on 4K and Blu-ray and DVD, and you can get the soundtrack on vinyl. I'm a big vinyl guy, so anything that you put out musically, like always put it out on vinyl, the different the variants and stuff like that, man, we eat that kind of stuff up.
I am too a big vinyl guy, and that's the sort of the go-to format for me. Uh, so I'm overjoyed and blown away to be able to continue making records that can come out on vinyl, which is Fantastic.
And by the time everybody watches this, your birthday was a couple days ago. So happy belated birthday to you, Tobias, as well.
Thank you very much. Thank
Really
you.
appreciate you taking some time to speak with us here at MMR. Looking forward to the new record, Skeleta, again, April 25th. Loma Vista Recordings has it for you. Tickets on sale now for the MMR concert event with Ghost at the Wells Fargo Center. And we can't wait to have you back through the Philadelphia area. The best of luck with 2025. Kick ass at the Ozzy show coming up this summer, man. And we can't wait to see you back through Philly. Thanks for taking time to chat with us today, Tobias.
Thank you so much, Brent. Thank
You
you.
really appreciate it. All right. Have a good day, my man.
You too.